Welcome back, gamers, and welcome to the first in my new retrofit series. So this is a series that's going to be kind of leaning into my introduction of retro. I'm going to be taking each of the starter deck retro decks, like the two-player starter decks and the individual starter decks, and kind of punching them up with other retro cards, because many of these are turbo decks, which means they need to have more cards added to them in order to get a full retro deck. But kind of like an easy barrier to entry, not focusing on a lot of the most expensive cards, but something that a new player, especially someone new to retro, can kind of pick up and just run with and kind of start enjoying the format. So first off, we're going to look at Sub-Zero. Now this is a character that I built on UK Versus's Great Universus Bake Off Retro Edition. I filmed that last weekend as of time of recording. You can check that out on his Twitch, UK Versus, and I know he'll be uploading an edited, shortened version to YouTube as soon as he's done with that, so go check that out. It was really fun, and one of the prompts was make a retro deck that is easy for a person who's never played retro before to pick up, and I chose Sub-Zero, and I used that model to change over into this deck. So Sub-Zero is a 6-hand size 28 health character with Order, Void, and Water symbols. He's got two enhance abilities. The first is your stun attack gets +2 damage. If it is blocked, your rival discards a card. So very similar to we've seen Potemkin from the new Guilty Gear set. If your attack is completely blocked, your rival discards a card. This is if your rival blocks your attack, period. Which can be very powerful. You can really tax your rival's hand. 2 damage doesn't seem like a lot, but we are going to be stunning our rival's board a lot. And then we also have this other enhance that is only available on our attack. That's why it has your attack in brackets. Flip 1 foundation, there's your cost. Seal one of your opponent's assets or foundations, and then commit it. So sealing turns off a card's abilities. If a card is sealed, it is treated as having no words in its text box. So this is a very powerful control ability. We can just flip one of our own foundations and say, hey, that powerful defensive piece, that Cape of No Return, that Moment of Normalcy, has no abilities, and for good measure, we're going to commit it. So very, very powerful abilities here. And very straightforward. You want to play stun attacks, and you want to play cards that work with sealing. So let's look at our attack lineup. We start with Electric Jolt. This is one of the best attacks from the first My Hero Academia set. It's a 4/3, 3 mid for 4, 2 high block with Charge, EX2, and Stun 1. I will say that all of our attacks do have Stun, so that they all can wear that +2 damage from Sub-Zero. EX2 means we can spend as an enhance any number of our momentum, and for each momentum we spend for this ability, we get +2 speed. As a static, Electric Jolt says if it goes to our momentum, it goes to our momentum face up. Pretty cool. And in our momentum, it has an enhance ability. We flip Electric Jolt in our momentum. We get to commit any rival foundation we want. We just point and click that one, which is very cool to do on our rival's turn. And then as an enhance, if this attack is completely blocked, it still deals 1 damage at the end of the damage step. So this is going to deal damage no matter what, unless our rival has an ability to say that attack deals no damage, or to reduce our damage to 0. So this is already coming in as a 3 mid 6, thanks to Sub-Zero, and if they block it, they're going to lose a card from their hand. We also have another Denki Kaminari attack, Indiscriminate Shock 1.3 million volts. This is a 5/3, 3 low for 5, 2 low block, charge, ranged, and stun 1. As an enhance, this attack gets +1 damage for each committed rival foundation. So that is committed for our stuns, that is committed for our Sub-Zero ability to flip a foundation to seal and commit a rival foundation. And as another enhance, we can commit 1 foundation to force our rival to commit 1 foundation. So this is going to be one of our kill cards. And this says this is a 3 low for I'm going to throw lethal at you. It is very, very powerful. And you might think 3 speed, not a whole lot of speed. But if we're committing our rival's board and they block 1 or 2 attacks already, the third attack being an indiscriminate, or another card that we'll see later called Frost Hammer, is just going to dunk people. It's really, really powerful, and 3 speed's nothing if our rival has no cards in their hand to block with because they blocked other attacks. Next up we have Bug Spray. This is a fun little one. A 3/3, 3 high for 2 with a 0 high block, which is an amazing block. It's got Reversal, Safe, and Stun 1. Reversal is a responsibility that activates in your hand. It is a retro exclusive-ish keyword ability. It says, after an attack is blocked, you can reveal this card in your hand. You may attempt to play this card from your hand. You basically add it to the attack stack, and then after the current attack resolves, you attempt to play it as an attack. So you can pass your make the check to play it, and basically you can attack on your rival's turn. So very cool ability here. It's very cheap at a 3 difficulty. It's got that Stun 1, so this can become a 3 high for 4 in Sub-Zero, which is decent rate. And Stun 1 on your rival's turn is pretty good. Safe is a static keyword ability that says your rival is not allowed to play reversals after this attack resolves. So if our rival blocks this and they have a reversal in their hand, they're not allowed to activate that reversal ability. So that is pretty cool. As an enhance, we can force our rival to discard 1 random card. Random. They don't get to choose. And if they have 3 or fewer cards in their hand, they draw 1 card. So this is good to block a rival attack, reversal with Bug Spray. And let's say they're a 6-hander, so they played their first attack, they have 5. We Bug Spray, they discard 1 random card. And, oh look, you have 4 cards in your hand, so you don't get that draw. So we're taxing our rival's hand on their turn, and then Sub-Zero taxes their hand on our turn. And again, if they don't want to take extra damage, they're going to have to block Bug Spray, which means they'll have to discard another card on their turn. Because it's a 3 high for 4 with Sub-Zero's +2. And as another enhance, if this attack deals damage, our rival loses 2 health. So this could be a 3 high for a total of 6. This is coming in for 6 damage, not including any of the other damage boosts that we could put on it. So this could force our rival to have to block on their turn and lose another card thanks to Sub-Zero. So if our rival's a 6-hander, they play 1 attack, and we can put enough stats on this Bug Spray after we block, that could be half their hand gone. So that's pretty fun. And like I said, that 0 high block is really nice. We have Deep Freeze. This is Sub-Zero's ultra rare attack. It's a 5/3, 3 mid for 7, 2 low block, Fury, Stun 2, and Weapon. As an enhance, we can spend 1 momentum, seal up to 3 of our rival's foundations, and then this attack is +1 to its stun rating. So we can turn up to 3 of our rival's foundations off. Just they have no abilities whatsoever. And this becomes a stun 3. And as a 3 mid 7 with Sub-Zero, it's a 3 mid 9. If our rival doesn't want to take 9, they have to discard another card from their hand. So a lot of just shutting down our rival's stage with this deck. And as promised, we have Frost Hammer. This is a 5/3, 3 high for 5 with a 2 high block, Stun 1, and Weapon. As an enhance, this attack gets +1 speed for each of our rival's sealed foundations. So for each foundation that we've turned the abilities off of, we get 1 speed, which means that 3 speed ain't looking so slow anymore. And just like Indiscriminate Shock, this attack gets +1 damage for each of your rival's committed foundations. So this is another good kill card for you. So between this and Indiscriminate Shock, if you can back-to-back these cards when your rival's got 8 committed foundations, they're just gonna die. This is 8 foundations committed plus the +2 from Sub-Zero, so that's 10 stats. These are 3 high for 15, 3 low for 15. If our rival has no cards in their hand, they're just gonna get dumpstered. We've got Ice Clone. This is a 4/3, 3 mid for 4 with a 2 mid block, ally, and stun 1. As a static, after we use this card to block, we get to seal one of our rival's foundations and commit it. So we block with this card and say, hey, turn that card off and turn it sideways. And then enhance, if this attack is blocked, we get to seal one opponent's foundation and commit it. So if they block it, because it's a 3 mid 6 thanks to Sub-Zero, not only do they have to discard a card from their hand, but they're going to have one of their best cards sealed and then committed. Which means you're likely just going to... this card's just going to get let go. Your rival's just going to say, hey, I'll take whatever damage is printed on this card, because you got the 4 damage, plus 2 from Sub-Zero. We've got a lot of damage boost in our foundation base, and they're probably just going to have to take it. And our last attack is Barrier of Frost, a 4/3, 3 mid for 4 with a 2 mid block, stun 1. As a static, after we block with this card, that blocked attack deals no damage. So this works for throws, because even if you completely block a throw, you would still deal half damage. This says we take no damage. We could partial block with this attack, and it'll deal no damage. So very strong defensive piece here. And then as an enhance, if this attack is blocked, a rival commits one of their foundations. They do get to choose, but again, it's how much resources is our rival willing to give up trying to defend themselves? How much damage are they willing to take to keep those resources around? And when we're selectively, our first enhance of the turn is likely going to be to flip one of our foundations to seal their best defensive piece and commit it. So this is a very strong control and kind of aggressive deck, which when you think of Sub-Zero, you don't think of him being as the most aggressive character. And a lot of people will say, as if you've watched the Bake Off episode, Sam Tate says, Sub-Zero doesn't play as well as he reads. He didn't even do so good in his time. And that's true. But I think as a place to start to get into Retro, I think this is a good place to start. You're going to have a lot of fun just telling your rival you don't get to play with those cards. On to assets, we have Item Box, a 2/5, 2 low block, unique keyword, meaning we can only have one of it in our stage at a time. As an enhance, we can commit Item Box, return this attack to its printed speed and damage, return it to its printed zone, and if it was unblockable, it is no longer unblockable. So just one of the best defensive pieces printed, which is why even in Retro, we are choosing to run it. On to our actions, we have Genkai's Guidance, a 1/5 with a 3 low block. First form, remove, discard 1 card. Your rival discards 1 card. So if we want to guarantee, like we have Genkai's Guidance, 3 attacks, or 4 attacks even, and then another card that we don't need, and our rival's got just 1 or 2 cards left in their hand, we can just discard 1 card, remove Genkai's Guidance, and say, hey, get rid of 1 card in your hand. So now if they have 2 cards in their hand, they only get to block 1 attack. And you say, hey, pick and choose which one do you want to block, and how much damage are you going to be taking. Or as a response, we can sacrifice 3 foundations. After our rival plays an attack, we remove it from the game. We just say, I'm not going to deal with that attack. Next we have Showdown, a 3/4 with a 3 high block. Response, after you block with this card, selectively commit 2 rival foundations. We just turn those 2 sideways, please. And then response, we commit 2 foundations as a cost. After our rival plays an ability on an action card, cancel it. So another powerful control piece, and turning our rival's foundation sideways on their turn, so there's less that we have to stun on our turn, is always fun. And then last action is Give Me Your Best Shot. It's a 2/5, 2 mid block. As a static, this card cannot leave the card pool due to card effects. As an enhance, reduce this attack speed to 0. The next card you play this turn gains Breaker 2. This is Barrier Shield on different symbols. So this is really, really cool. It does not remove itself like Barrier Shield does. In fact, this says it's just not allowed to leave the card pool. But also as a response, after our rival plays an enhance during our attack's enhance step, our attack gets +3 speed and we get to gain a health. So remember how I was saying these 3 speed moves are kind of easy to block? Well, if our rival does like a flip to draw a card, we can gain a health and give our Indiscriminate Shock 3 speed. So it's a 6 low for pretty lethal. So a really effective piece on both offense and defense. And now into our foundation base, we have Cryomancer's Descendant. This is a 2/5. It has no block modifier, so you are not allowed to block with this card. That is something that new players to Retro will have to kind of reconcile. There are cards with no blocks, so you have to be careful with that. As a response, we remove this card. After a stun attack deals damage, both players discard a card. So hey, if you block it, you're discarding a card. If you take it, you're discarding a card. If you partial block, you're discarding 2 cards. So very good way to empty your rival's hand. And then there is an errata on this Sub-Zero response. It says destroy on the card. It is a remove cost, actually. So it is now a Sub-Zero response remove. After one of your foundations is flipped, unflip 2 foundations. So when we flip for our Sub-Zero enhance, we can turn 1 face down and turn 2 face up. So really powerful ability there. Next we have Freezing the City, a 2/5 with a 3 mid block. Enhance, your stun attack gets +1 damage. All of our attacks get free damage. And then enhance, seal this foundation. Your rival seals one of their face-up ready foundations. So they don't get to seal something that's committed and unable to be used. They have to seal something that they otherwise could have used, and it has to be face-up. So, very powerful control piece here. You will not be able to get the +1 damage after you use the sealing ability, but it is just a good way to turn off your rival's abilities if need be. Especially if you have Lin Kuei Grandmaster, a 2/6 with a 2 high block. Enhance once per turn, commit 1 sealed foundation in your rival's stage. So, Sub-Zero seals and commits, but if we just seal something using Freezing the City, we can then commit it with Lin Kuei Grandmaster. So that's pretty good. And then enhance, commit 1 foundation, your stun attack gets +2 damage. So even more damage that we're stacking on top of our attacks. We have Retreated to Arctica, a 2/5 with no block. It has the unique keyword. It says enhance, sacrifice, before the damage step. If this attack has 3 or more keywords, reduce its damage to 0. So the window's a little tricky on this. You are telegraphing that you're not going to be blocking this card. As an enhance, you get rid of Retreat to Arctica and say this attack is going to do 0 damage during the damage step. So even if they boost it up, by the time it starts the damage step, that damage is going to be reduced to 0. So you are telling your rival, don't bother spending all of your resources on this one, but if you do wait to push that button until later in the enhance step, it can be useful. Moment of Normalcy, of course, 2/5, 3 high block, unique. Enhance commit, return this attack to its printed speed or damage. So it's kind of like Iden Box at home, but it does help our defensive plays. We have Daring Swordplay, a 2/5 with a 2 low block and the Breaker 1 keyword. Breaker is a response that says after you block with this card, your rival's next check to play a card gets -X. X equals our Breaker rating. So if we block with this card successfully, our rival's next check is going to get -1, which is a good way to tax their foundations on their turn. And it says enhance commit, this attack gets +2 speed. If it is blocked, your next attack gets +1 speed. So again, all of our attacks, I believe, are 3 speed. All of our attacks are 3 speed. So as much speed as we can get as possible is great. And even if our rival blocks our attack and maybe they have to commit a few foundations, our next attack is going to get just a little bit faster. We have Unsavory Morsel, a 1/5 with a 2 mid block. Thief Breaker 1. We're not a thief, so we do not get access to that. Enhance flip, your rival commits 1 card in their stage with no abilities. So this can commit your rival's sealed foundations if we seal them with something like, well, here if we seal, well, like Deep Freeze. If we seal up to 3 cards, we can then use Unsavory Morsel to commit those so that we don't have to let our rival commit them for the stun. But also, we can commit our rival's flipped foundations. So if they have any face down foundations, we can flip this on their turn and say, hey, commit one of your face downs for me. That's one less resource they have during their turn. So very good card here. We have Acrobatic Style, a 1/5 with a 3 low block. Response, Tenacious, which means it is playable while committed. We flip Acrobatic Style. After a rival foundation is committed due to our effect, we get to ready this card. So whether we're committing it with Sub-Zero, one of our stuns, or any of our other foundations that commit their cards, we can just ready this up and keep progressing our string. Next up is Ice Gliding, a 1/5 with a 3 mid block. Enhanced commit, this attack is +1 or -2 speed. If it's blocked, the next attack this turn gets +1 or -1 speed. So we can give our attacks plus speed, or our rivals' attacks minus speed. So kind of like that daring sword play, where we're just trying to stagger boosts, but we can also stagger minuses if we're playing defense. Next we have Making a Stand, a 2/5 with a 3 low block. Enhance flip, your rival spends 1 momentum. Very good control there. And enhance, your stun attack gets +1 damage. More free damage. We have Requesting Assistance, a 0/5 with a 2 mid block. Enhance flip, if we have 1 or more momentum, we get to ready 1 foundation that has not been readied this combat phase. So if we had to commit something like an Ice Gliding or a Daring Swordplay for plus speed, and we have a 1 momentum, we can flip this to ready that right back up. Or we can ready Moment of Normalcy on our rival's turn to really layer into our defenses. We have Voice of Reason, a 0/5 with a 2 mid block. Enhance once per turn. Both players discard 1 card and draw 1 card. So this is just a little bit of good cycling. We can try to get better block modifiers, especially if we have a no block in our hand. We can try to discard that to draw a block zone. We have Nightmare Tears, a 2/4 with a 3 low block. It's got the unique keyword, as a static, when attempting to block with this card, reduce the speed of your opponent's attack to 0. So we just play this on a 3, basically, unless we have progressive difficulty. And then enhance our turn, we flip this card, our rival commits one of their foundations and freezes it. So freezing means that that card cannot ready during our rival's next ready step, which you would think would be something that Sub-Zero would do, but Sub-Zero was the beginning of Seal. He actually introduced the Seal mechanic, and freezing wasn't until 7th Cross, which is kind of funny to me. Next we have Malfestation. This is a 1/6 with a 2 high block. As a static, after this card is committed due to a stun ability, or to pay the cost of our ability, our rival has to commit a foundation. So if we commit this with Lin Kuei Grandmaster for +2 damage, we also force our rival to commit another foundation. Really, really good. Next we have World Without Battle, a 2/5 with a 2 low block. Enhance flip, this attack with a keyword ability gets +2 or -3 speed. All of our attacks have stun, they all qualify for this +2 speed boost. Or if our rival's attack has stun, or safe, or reversal, or breaker, or EX, we can give those -3 speed. And then we have a Desperation Enhance, which means if we are at less than half of our printed health, which is 28, so if we are at 13 health or less, we can flip this card. If there is at least 1 face down card in our card pool, draw 1 card. We don't have any ways to put face down cards in our own card pool, so this is mainly if our rival's trying to clog us. And lastly, we have God of Thunder, a 3/5 with a 3 high block. Enhance, sacrifice 1 foundation. Ready 1 foundation that has not been readied this combat phase, and that is a Tenacious Enhance. It's playable while God of Thunder is committed. And we can commit God of Thunder to give our attack +2 damage, so even more damage stocked up onto all of this free damage. And that's it. That's going to be Sub-Zero. I believe the only thing... like, Genkai's Guidance might be hard to find right now just because it is such a meta staple. But I'm pretty sure everything else in this deck, aside from the Genkai's Guidance, all of the retro stuff, you can find on rochesterccg.com. Like I said, all of the Sub-Zero cards come in the Sub-Zero and Scorpion 2-player starter deck. And then everything else is kind of just common and uncommons, with Nightmare Tears and God of Thunder being rares. I believe Give Me Your Best Shot might have been like a promo for Red Horizon, but they're easy to find. So other than that... Oh, and Indiscriminate Shock is also a rare. So this is actually a very cheap and easy way to get started in the retro format. And like I said, I'm going to be doing this retrofit series for every starter deck in retro, either it being an individual deck like J. Talbane or Felicia, or the 2-player starter decks like Sub-Zero and Scorpion, or Spike and Vicious from Cowboy Bebop. If you would like me to also do, let me see, because there's also, I think I have to scroll, I think it's all on the next page. Yeah, because there's a Spike and Vicious 2-player, which I'll do. I'll also do the 2-player starter for Sub-Zero Scorpion. Let me know if you want me to do the Bakugo and Midoriya. Technically, they are retro now, but they're kind of newer retro. They're not exactly like old school. Same with the Endeavor 2 and Eraserhead 2 starter decks. If you want me to include the My Hero decks and starters, please let me know in the comments. And then we have the Chun-Li and Ryu, which I can do for the Street Fighter. And then J. Talbane. I will do Felicia even though she's out of stock, just because she's kind of an easier one to find and she's fan favorite. But there's also, it might be in boxes. Bear with me here, folks. Those are not the right tins. There are tins. Like the Proto Man tin here. This came with a starter deck for Proto Man, and then a bunch of random cards. So I'm trying to do accessibility things. This tin is obviously like $40. Do you guys want me to include the Mega Man and Darkstalkers tins with this? I think some of these might be harder to find. And then there's the World of Indine starter display. I don't think there are places where you can find the individual starters, but each Indine's starter has World of Indines characters. There's 4 different decks for World of Indines. The entire set is basically 4 starter decks and then like a collection of back page cards. So like the Eligor Runica deck is one deck. You have the Hikaru Cadenza deck. You have Kadath and Cherry, and then you have Schecter and Tatsumi. Would you guys be interested in seeing these decks as retrofitted decks? I did not include them in my initial idea because they are harder to come by, because I think the only way you can get them is through this starter display. You might be able to find them like if you're at Atlanta and Rochester CCG is vending, and they might have like the individual decks for sale then. But with those and with the tins, because the only tin I can see here is the Proto Man tin. Sealed product. Nothing in the UVS sealed product. Starter decks. Legacy. I have the DLC, but I don't think the tins would have been included in this. Okay. So far, I'm only doing the starter decks that are in Universus starter decks here. It's going to be the J. Talbane, the Felicia, and then all of the 2-player starter decks like Spike Lee, Vicious, Spike Spiegel, not Spike Lee, who am I talking about? Mortal Kombat, and Street Fighter. So if you want me to include the tins, if you want me to include World of Indines and you want me to include these older 3 My Hero products, please let me know in the comments below. I'm obviously open to the idea, but it's all about what you guys want. You guys wanted more retro content, so I thought this would be a good way to start more retro content, showing you easy and cheaper ways to get invested, kind of dip your toe into the retro space. So until then, take care, guys.